video on YouTube of all the crocodiles. They're at like a crocodile farm or like a crocodile zoo, and they're all just chilling. They're all basking in the sun. There's about 10 to 12 of them just chilling. And the dude, the zookeeper or like whatever it is, throws in a chicken, like a raw chicken, to feed them. And this dumb honking crocodile just turns his head the other way, the wrong way that the chicken went, and bites like his brother's hand. He bites his brother's leg, and then just does a death roll and fully rips his brother's leg off and eats it. Have you seen that video? It's nuts. Yeah. The crocodiles are mean and dumb. It's a really insane video, and the best part of it is that there's a little girl or a little child starts crying, which is pretty perfect. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Timmy, pull that video up for us. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. This is like a one-person operation. It's just me doing this podcast. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of the podcast, welcome to Man-Eaters, the only true crime podcast on the internet where all the killers are animals. My name's James Chapman, aka Jimothy Chaps, aka Jimbley Chimney, aka Jumbo Chimombo, aka Pussy Pussy Lip Dingus, aka Andy Sandberg. And you're listening to the third episode of this podcast. Today we are talking about Crocodile, as maybe you had guessed from the bizarre intro to this episode. We're talking about Gustave, which is a crocodile from Africa who has been a real diva roach ass for a very, very long time and been a thorn in the side of a lot of the locals there. So we'll get stuck in that story momentarily. But firstly, I just wanted to say thanks for joining me, and also thank you for all the lovely feedback you have given me for the first couple of episodes. Like, some people I know have said some really lovely things. People I don't know very well have said some really nice things. So I just want to say I really appreciate that. I'm having a really fun time recording this series, and it's actually not a chore. Sometimes when I do other podcasts, it feels like a chore. Like I have to do it. It's just a thing I have to do to get through, and it's not very enjoyable. These podcast episodes take a day or so each to make, to research, to record, and to do all that kind of stuff. But I'm having a great time, and I think it's because I'm genuinely interested by these stories, and I hope you are too. So look, without me blowing my own horn, without me tooting my own horn any longer, let's get right into this story. We are talking, of course, about Gustave, the killer crocodile. Gustave is a male Nile crocodile from Burundi in East Africa. Nile crocodiles are common throughout sub-Saharan Africa and are the second largest species of reptile on the planet after the Australian saltwater crocodile. Nile crocodiles are opportunistic, apex predators capable of taking down almost any prey in their size range. Their diet generally consists of fish, birds, mammals, and other reptiles. The average Nile crocodile is between 3.5 and 5 meters long, and they display sexual dimorphism, meaning that the males and females appear differently. In this case, males typically grow 30% larger than the females. A modern survey found that per annum, Nile crocodiles attack between 275 and 745 humans, and the rate of fatality is about 63%. Compare that to a mere 30 attacks by saltwater crocodiles each year, of which only 50% are fatal, and you can get an idea of just how aggressive these animals really are. The fact that the majority of attacks appear to be predatory as opposed to self-defense or opportunistic means a case can be made that Nile crocodiles are the most prolific predator of humans in the wild in the world. Between 1990 and 2006, lions killed only an eighth as many people in Africa as crocodiles. Even though there are far more crocodiles in the wild as lions, only a quarter of these crocodiles are old and large enough to attack a human. Now, considering how aggressive Nile crocodiles are, you can probably imagine that Gustave has to be pretty special to get his own name. Already, something is different about this story. In my first sentence, I used the word is, and there's a good reason for that. The reason is, Gustave is still out there. Unlike a lot of the other man-eaters, Gustave is still alive and kicking. Now, there's many interesting things about Gustave, but there's two things in particular that I find fascinating. So thing number one, Gustave is absolutely huge. He's never been captured, so it's really hard to actually verify exactly how large he is, but experts estimate he's about 6 meters long and weighs over 900 kilograms. If you're like me, you probably find it really hard to just visualize size just from hearing the numbers. So to put it into perspective, Gustave is only slightly shorter than 2 stretch limousines put bumper to bumper, which is insane. Now, thing number 2, his physical stature isn't the only thing big about him, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, this croc has a big old penis. Sorry, I'm kidding. Actually, I don't know, to be completely fair. I don't actually know if that's true. He probably does have a big penis for a crocodile. But again, no one can confirm that. No, sorry. The other thing that's huge about him is actually his kill count. How many people do you think this crocodile could have killed? If you said 50, you're wrong, you big old idiot. No, it's not 50. It's actually over 100. Gustave has killed over 100 people in his lifetime. That actually doesn't sound right either, and there's a reason because it doesn't sound right, because it's not right. I lied to you. Over his lifespan, Gustave has in fact killed 200 people. 200 people have lost their lives. Anyway, in 1987, a scientific survey... I'm just going to do it again. Sorry, I actually lied a third time. Now look, it's difficult to verify exactly how many people have died from Gustave's powerful jaws, but experts believe he has killed in excess of 300 people. 300 people. That one's true, by the way. That's not the lie. That incredibly high number puts him at the top of the man-eater kill list count, behind only the Champawat tiger at 436 kills and the leopard of Pinar at 400 kills. Now, due to the poor record keeping in this area of the world, we actually don't know much about the origins of this animal. We don't know where and when his attack started, and we don't actually know many details about the victims themselves. What we do know is that Gustave has been shot at least 3 times because he has the scars to prove it. He also has an additional scar just above his right shoulder blade, which looks like he's been stabbed with perhaps a spear, probably by a hunter or poacher sometime earlier in his life. We also know that for a sizable amount of time he lived in Lake Tanganyika, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and over time he became an almost mythical figure in East Africa. Feared by everybody, Gustave kept people out of the water for years and years. Originally, locals assumed he was over 100 years old, but based on photos of his mostly intact teeth, most experts now agree that he's around 60 years of age, and here's the part that really gets me. Because he's around 60, he's still growing. This is not a fully grown Gustave yet, so 6 meters, way bigger than most other Nile crocodiles, probably, right at the edge of what's been observed in the wild, and he's still growing. Gustave is feared by everything that lives in the water with him. There is footage of much smaller crocodiles offering him their throat as he approaches, which is a sign of submission. Even hippopotamuses are afraid of him. Now, normally a Nile crocodile wouldn't dream of attacking a hippo, even an infant hippo. The reason for this is that hippopotamuses are well known as being the deadliest animal in Africa. They kill heaps of people every year, heaps of people in Africa. They kill more people than the crocodiles do. But the only reason that we are talking about these crocodiles today is because hippopotamuses don't kill people out of predation. It's out of, being territorial and kind of just being a bunch of assholes, to be completely honest. So yeah, like I said, normally a Nile crocodile wouldn't even think of messing with a hippo. But Gustave is not a normal crocodile. A park ranger once reported seeing Gustave kill and eat a fully grown male hippopotamus. It's stories like this that make Gustave famous, and by the 2000s, Gustave was well known around the world. Patrice Fay, a herpologist from France, was the one who gave Gustave his name after studying him since the late 1990s. Fay and other scientists made the trip to Burundi in 2004 to attempt to track and capture him. They were given 2 months only to complete their task before being forced to leave the country. This is because at the time Burundi was in the midst of civil unrest, and an upcoming leadership challenge would plunge the country into civil war. The scientists managed to locate Gustave, but didn't have as much luck capturing him. Snares and traps were set up at strategic locations along the banks of the lake. Later, a much larger cage weighing over 9 tons was constructed and baited in hopes of luring Gustave into it. Now, they used many different kinds of baits, alive and dead. None of them seemed to attract Gustave. Finally, they placed a live goat in the cage, hoping that that would be enough to attract him. Now, on the night that they placed the goat in the cage, there was a massive storm, and rain destroyed the infrared cameras that were set up to observe the cage. When the scientists came back in the morning, they found the cage half submerged in the water, and the goat was gone without a trace. With no camera footage to look back on, they could only speculate as to what happened. Many of the scientists believe that the inclement weather and the rain had sunk the cage into the riverbank. Some of the other scientists said that it is entirely possible that Gustave made it into the cage, took the goat, and that he was just so big that it failed to activate the trap. With no time to rebuild the cage, Patrice Fay and the other scientists had no choice but to leave Burundi empty-handed. In 2009, Gustave popped up again in the Ruzizi River. Experts have speculated that due to Gustave's massive size, he is unable to hunt for more agile prey such as fish and birds, and thus he is actually forced to tackle larger animals including wildebeest, zebra, hippopotamuses, and of course, 300 humans. Gustave was last seen in 2015 when a local reported seeing him dragging a large wildebeest into the water. No one has seen him since. Many people assume that since it's been 6 years without a sighting, he's likely dead, and his body was consumed by other animals in the river. However, there is no proof for this, and it's just as likely that Gustave is still out there, just beneath the waterline, waiting for an unlucky soul to wander just a fraction too close to the water's edge. So, after hearing that, who's booking their plane trip to Burundi with me? No one? That's fine. I'm pretty sure that place is also still currently going through some sort of civil strife, although don't quote me on that. Maybe it's a really nice place and you're just a classist asshole. Gustave, man, what a story. The fact that, an animal can kill 300 people and just still be out there is, in this day and age, is pretty mind-boggling. Yeah, crocodiles are one of those animals that really freaks me out. I haven't traveled a lot in the north of Australia. I've been to Queensland, been to places where there are crocodiles. Been to Australia Zoo, there's a crocodile there. I was not there at the time, but very shortly before Steve Irwin got in trouble because he held his baby in his arms as he was feeding a crocodile, and I don't know what happened. I think maybe he just you put your keys in one pocket and you put your phone in the other pocket, and sometimes you forget which side's which. I think he nearly did that, and I think basically he nearly fed Robert Irwin to a crocodile, which, bad parenting, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't been too much further north of Australia than that place, but there are saltwater crocodiles here, and people losing their mind, and just in celebration of crocodiles, I just want to play you my favorite soundbite on the internet.
I mean, people are entitled to their sexual proclivities, let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned, but I ain't spending any time on it, because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Bob Catter, you crazy, weird, leathery witch of a man. This is not a political podcast, but I feel like I can just say that guy scares me more than Gustave would. Alright, that's it for this episode of Man Eaters. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow or subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to it, whether that be Spotify or Google or Apple or anywhere else. I don't know where else you would listen to it. Frickin' Pandora, maybe. If you're listening on Pandora, drop a comment. And if you are enjoying this series, again, let me know. This season is 3 episodes deep now. We're gonna hit 10 episodes in a few weeks, and at that point we will reassess and see what we're doing. But I'll just say now, if I'm having as much fun at 10 episodes as I am right now, I'm gonna keep going regardless of what you say. I don't really, if no one's listening, if it's just me recording and putting these out in the ether, and then some weird crocodile, tiger, bear enthusiast in 20 years finds these and listens to them and says, wow, that guy sucked, is he still alive? No, he died. How'd he die? Dildo accident. Well, that's crazy. I'm okay with that. That's absolutely fine. I'm sleepy, so I'm going to go to bed now and try not to have nightmares about Bob Catter. Good night, everybody.
But I ain't spending any time on it,